Hello and welcome to the Moving People podcast. I'm Pierre, Senior Director of the Hub at BCW India. We've been on a bit of a break for a few months on the podcast, and we thought this is a great time for us to restart our conversations with leaders in the world of PR and communications. Today's episode is going to focus on something that's been buzzing through the industry for several months now. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably seen conversations about this all over the place. We are talking, of course, about the use of AI in the world of communications. And joining us for today's conversation will be Peng. He is the Chief Digital Officer for BCW APAC. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Pierre.
So we've been chatting about AI in PR and communications for some time, Joe, and I think I wanted to start by sort of laying the groundwork because the thing that's generated most of the attention has been generative AI and DALI and ChatGPT. But AI is much bigger than that. It's much wider than that. So help us understand what AI is and what it covers.
Okay, sure. Um, First of all, I think I'm quite interested in this topic, and I'm personally a user of those newly generated AI tools. One example is a tool that helped me to transfer my you know fragmented thoughts into some bullet points. Because sometimes I'm thinking of some of the ideas or strategy for my clients, and usually previously I just need to write down those points in a PPT or email format or in a Word document. But today I have a tool. Of course, I will definitely keep our clients' information confidential, but some of the thoughts I can just talk to that tool, and it helped me to generate some bullet points. So first of all, I'm a user of it, and I believe that a lot of our audience here are experimenting with different types of tools out there in the market. Well, back to this AI topic, artificial intelligence. I don't think that I need to explain, the basic of AI, but I want to say my focus because we talk a lot about generative AI, and we have a lot of debate on generated content, and it is kind of artificial because it's generated by machine. But I want to focus on intelligence. So basically, I think it is something that we definitely more intelligent, more efficient in the future. While as Pierre mentioned earlier on, we definitely will also be cautious about some of the potential risk of this technology.
Adobe came out with Sensei in both the marketing cloud as well as the creative cloud. But we've also used it in analytics and social media listening. Give us a sense of where we've already seen the application of AI and how artificial intelligence has helped us in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, for our industry, of course, when it comes to the content generation, this is the big topic this year, all because of generative AI. So a lot of companies started to experiment with this generative AI in their different customer or consumer interface because it will help these brands to come up with a chatbot or some, you know, assistant for
Yeah.
them to communicate with their customers. While in terms of content and creative generation, I also see a lot of creative teams are started to use as a assistant for brainstorming because even we are a creative firm under WPP, we are really cautious in terms of using it for commercial. So we have our internal guideline. We will not, at least at this stage, use those generated content for our client work directly. But some people use it for brainstorming because you can use it to generate a list of potential ideas, or some people use it for mockup, so you can easily
Mm.
describe your intention and prompt the machine, so you can get several different types of mockup for people to discuss on it. So in this sense, I would position it as more of a tool. Because
Yeah.
currently, I cannot say that there is a tool or platform out there who can provide that level of creative that we have, from our human being. And it cannot provide a creative platform for us, but it
Hmm.
can help us to make it more efficient. So from content perspective, this is where we already see a lot of experiments. While secondly, we also see the collection of tools that can help us to do media monitoring, social listening.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, there are different models, machine learning models that can perform in different ways. So
Yeah.
it can be sentiment analysis,
Hmm.
it can be threat detection, it can be reoccurring crisis detection. One of the example is actually recently launched by BCW with our partner, Limbic.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later, but
Sure.
in a nutshell, we have a tool based on cognitive AI to provide organizations to better uh, defend themselves from misinformation or weaponized information.
Yeah.
So that is based on big data and data analytics. Of course, we see a lot of cases for personalization because AI can help you to customize your creative assets,
Yeah.
targeting different types of people, your audience. So that's also an area that we see a lot of potential.
You mentioned big data, Joe, and I think that's the foundation of AI, right? Because without data, AI can't really do the training of the machine learning model very effectively. And so I think our broader message to clients is no matter what kind of data you may have, whether it's lots and lots of text, whether it's lots of images, whether it's consumer information and consumer patterns and consumer behavior, we can help you make use of that data and get generate intelligence out of it, which helps you either make smarter decisions or come up with more creative ideas or come up with insights to help you plan campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's think about monitoring. I
Hmm.
think this is what we do on a daily basis for our client. Well, I think in this area, AI has utterly revamped the way we navigate and respond to the intricate landscape of information, especially when it comes to reputation management, where
Yeah.
BCW support a lot of our clients to manage, right? So imagine your brand is being talked about online 24/7. Well, with AI, you can monitor those conversations in a real time. But there is more. We are also talking about deep dive analytics and trend forecasting. So big data and AI team up like the ultimate body cop duo. Let me call it that way. The unearthing potential patterns and trends in brand reputation and crisis management. So you can even tailor your AI to perform in-depth research on topics ranging
Yeah.
from what your competitors are up to how consumers are reacting to your latest product launch.
Yeah. Before we got on the mic today, we were talking about 4 or 5 areas where communications professionals and communications teams could use AI. And I think the 4 or 5 areas that we talked about were automating our workflows, creating content, whether that's visual or text content, detecting and managing misinformation. We spoke very, very briefly about that. I know we'll get into it in more detail. And then the whole space of analytics. And I think you covered some of that. Could you maybe before we get into the really fun stuff, also talk about workflows and how AI can make our day-to-day processes more efficient?
I guess I will also want to know how you see that because probably we all try some different tools. And I'll
Yeah.
give you an example of I saw a new tool coming up in the market. So it's a workflow tool. While this guy, I mean, if I'm a person, I'm a creator. Let me have that hypothesis. I'm a creator on social media platform. I'm a LinkedIn writer, and every day I need to read a lot of like trends and articles about technology companies. So I found a tool it can help me to monitor the news media. This is not new, but there is another tool. It's workflow management. And on top of that, they added a generative AI, which is
Yeah.
basically a GPT model, based on which I can talk to that assistant. So I can task that assistant to help me to get hold of the data that the another tool help to monitor from the news media. I can say to this tool, okay, I need AI for manufacturer industry, and it help me to collect those news. And with those collection, I can actually give some prompt to this assistant by saying, okay, for these types of information, you help me to put them into the Notion so it
Yeah.
can be connected. And after that, I can also say, okay, you can give me the top three news in this area, and I will approve whether I should send this to my peers, my colleagues, because they just want to see one or two news today. This is an example of workflow enhancement tool that I saw in the market. So I think this is a combination. I cannot say it's like a brand new innovation in this area, but I can see the beauty of combining generative AI, media monitoring, and workflow management. How do you see
Yeah.
that?
I think that's a fascinating question, Joe, because very recently WPP released a tool called Imagination. I think it's still in trial or beta. It's at a limited early stage right now, and I've been playing with it for a few days, and it's fascinating. You talked about efficiency and automation. I had about 20 articles to read before I got into a meeting the other day, and I only had about an hour. And all I did was take the text of those articles, put it into Imagine, and say, summarize this for me. Get me the 5 most important points from each of these articles. And it just did that so quickly and so efficiently. And the 5 most important data points for each article was brought right up. And so, I see tools like that in terms of just making our lives easier, making sense of tons and tons of data, and just giving us what's important, helping us focus on that. The other interesting feature that I found in Imagine was what they call the AI focus group, which
Mhm.
I think is a brilliant innovation on ChatGPT, where you can tell the AI to take on a persona. It could be David Ogilvy, for example, God rest his soul. But the idea is, I give the AI an idea of mine, and it would critique that idea using everything it knows about David Ogilvy's writings and teachings and thinking, right? Because that's been trained into the program. Similarly, we could give it other personas of consumers. There's one on eco-conscious consumers, there's one on health-conscious consumers, there's Gen Z, there's millennials, there's, I think, a fictional Sherlock Holmes character as well. So I found that tool fascinating, the way it can use ChatGPT to imitate personas and then come back with really strong critiques of her ideas and kind of bulletproof them, almost make them stronger through the critique.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up. I think this is a really cool example of how our group is experimenting with this technology. But I also want to say that the reason that we, as WPP group, we have this internal experiment is also because we want to keep our clients safe. I remember the
Yeah.
first line in the guideline is that currently all generative AI outputs must be approved by WPP
Yeah.
legal before being used in commercial work. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I think we are also watching out this area to make sure that our deliverable to our clients is
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, and I want to build on the bit about detecting and managing misinformation, because it kind of also ties to the new product that BCW has launched globally, which is Decipher. We're seeing more and more content on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok,
Mm.
which has been generated by AI. It's like very obviously generated by AI. In fact, today, if I scroll through YouTube videos, every fifth video might be AI images or AI video, and not real people or real videos. And we're also seeing early attempts of how this AI generated content can be misused, I remember a couple of months ago, there was this fake image of a bomb outside the Pentagon,
Yeah.
and that caused the stock markets in the US to crash before it was disproved.
Mm.
Tell us a bit about this and what AI can do in this space. Reputation
Yeah,
management, I guess. Yeah.
totally. I mean, for this tool, I can talk a little bit about that. I think, first of all, I want to be clear about what this isn't.
Yeah.
I think most of the products that we are hearing about are really nothing more than, classical social listening tools with basic predictive analysis. So
Mm.
much of the industry is built on after action reports and manual attempts to map the spread of misinformation, neither of which are all that helpful in the moment of a crisis, because
Yeah.
when it comes to a crisis, it can be really fast. So I think this exclusive partner that we have, Limbic, they developed the first predictive brief-based platform to anticipate and counter misinformation threats. So when I say brief-based, there is a PFI index from the platform. PFI means potential for impact.
Mm-hmm.
Index. So it's an extraordinary model that integrates the believability and the virality of information. So basically, we can use that model to predict whether a certain piece of information would be believed by the
Yeah.
audience, and whether people is going to engage with it, which
Yeah.
will make it viral. So we combine this with our expertise in corporate reputation and crisis management to nip false information in the bud before it
Yeah.
even starts to spread.
That's an important distinction of what this tool does differently, Joe, because and I think we saw this in the example of those fake images of Donald Trump getting arrested in New York, which were all over the internet. Now that went viral, but obviously not believable. And I think that's what this tool
Yeah.
does, is that it's not just that this particular content is getting a lot of engagement. It's whether people might believe this content as well, and that's the potential for impact that you talked about.
Yeah. So at its core, this PFI is a cognitive platform which looks into mimic what people think. So
Hmm.
I think from this perspective, it can be really helpful for these types of misinformation.
Yeah. There's another service that BCW has launched, which is called BCW Navigate. And I know that you're on the steering team for that. Can you tell us about Navigate and how clients might use that?
Yeah, I think Navigator is another example of how BCW incorporate our understanding of AI and our public affairs. So I think that is uh, I don't want to position it as a digital solution, but it is mainly our corporate and public affairs solution. So for companies who wanted to step into this area, no matter you're launching a product or you are using AI to provide service to your clients, there must be a lot of consideration around policies, regulations.
Yeah.
So our public affairs team, based on their solid experience in terms of understanding the policy and watching the development of the policy, they will be able to help our clients to define their strategy,
Yeah.
define their narrative. I think that's the core of that offering.
So if I were to sort of summarize the two services that we offer clients, Navigate is about a company that may have an AI product or service for its customers and consumers, and we help them bring that product or service to market responsibly, ethically, considering the legal and compliance issues around it, and also the messaging issues around it, because
Yeah.
there are different perspectives on whether AI is safe, good for humanity, bad for humanity. And then Decipher is the product to help clients safeguard and protect their reputation against weaponized misinformation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want to add one more point on top of the first one. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even a company who is not going to launch a product, AI-enabled product, if they are using a third-party AI platform to provide services to their
Yeah,
customers, there can also be risk
yeah,
involved in the process. So I think that is offering consulting offering for us to help our client to better understand the landscape and to choose the most suitable technology for them and for their customers.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in the next 6 months? Because even the next 6 months sounds so difficult to talk about because this thing changes every couple of weeks. But what are you really looking forward to?
Yeah, what I'm really looking forward to is more of a new client agency relationship in our industry. First of all, I'm positive about that because I believe that this technology will help us to enhance our efficiency on our agency side. Well, secondly, we would be able to provide our clients with more AI empowered solution. So I think I'm quite positive and I'm quite interested to see what's going to happen. But there can be challenges because people
Yeah.
are also talking about, how AI is going to replace a certain type of work in our industry. I always want to see how we, as communications practitioners and marketers, cooperate with AI. So, from the agency-client relationship perspective, I really want to see what will be the story, what will be the new model. How about you, Pierre?
Yeah, I've actually been doing this course in AI, and there are a couple of things that really fascinated me. One was just how underutilized data is on the PR side of communications, right? I mean, we see it applied every second of every day in marketing and advertising. In communications, it still seems to be more about the message, but there's so much that AI can do with data to help us sharpen those messages, to come up with customized messages for customized audiences. In delivering those messages, because everything is now digital first, our audiences are digital first, and therefore our communications has to be digital first. So right from predicting what could work for different audiences to creating the content based on what may or may not resonate with an audience to distributing that content. I think AI plays a role in that entire flow of or workflow of communications. So I'd love to work with clients who are interested in bringing that capability of AI into their comms. And I think purely from an internal perspective, I'm really excited about the rollout of features on WPP Imagine, because I know we've got a few features right now around chat and image and focus groups and so on. But we have video coming up, we have audio coming up, we have 2D animation coming up. So yeah, really excited about all those features internally.
Yeah, I love that point regarding data, Pierre. I remember early this year, we conducted a study with around 200 communications practitioners, senior leaders in in-house communications teams in this region, including a lot of people from India. The insight of the study is that data is rich, but insight is poor.
Yeah.
And the communications team needs to enhance data literacy. So I think, as you said, we know that there is possibility out there provided by data plus AI, while our industry just need to continue to innovate. So some of our recent new offerings around data is definitely customized and designed for communications efforts. So there are examples of using data to inform a influencer engagement campaign strategy. There are also cases, like you said, using data to inform content strategy.
Yeah.
And we even come up with a use case where we can use data to help our media team to come up with a better or more accurate media pitching
Media
strategy.
list.
Because
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, because we nowadays previously we are talking about a media list and tier one media, tier two media, but nowadays we have the data of the readers of this media. So
Exactly.
when we have a first batch of media coverage and the client wanted to expand the impact, we definitely know what would be the second batch of media to pitch. based on the data. So I think that is the beauty of data plus AI.
If people are interested, if clients particularly interested in talking to us about the use of AI, right? Whether it is to protect their reputation or to bring some AI solutions or use of AI solutions in their business, how should they get in touch with us?
I think looking into the future, it is reasonable to believe that AI will play an increasingly significant role in brand management and the communications as technology continues to advance and innovative applications emerge. So I
Yeah.
think um, my recommendation is for our clients and for our team to watch out the use cases out there, because nowadays I think the technology is already there, so everything would be around application. Well, for us is to identify the right use case where it can bring the best of AI to our clients and to our communications efforts.
All right. So, Joe, I'm going to wrap up here because I know our production team is looking at the clock on this one already. But the final question is, what kind of problems can BCW solve for clients today with the AI tools we have at our disposal already, or the services we have at our disposal powered by AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first of all, I we talked about our offerings, our new tools today. So I think if you are a client facing misinformation or weaponized information, Decipher would definitely be the most advanced tool that we can utilize to help you to navigate. While even if you are plan your proactive brand communication, this Decipher model, because it won't help us to predict the virality and the believability of a certain type of content. We can definitely use it as a sandbox, a PR sandbox for us to test out our upcoming campaign. So we can also customize that for you. Well, if you're a company looking at launching new services based on AI, using AI's power to provide more value to your customers, our Navigator would be a great partner for you and us to navigate the changing landscape, ranging from the regulation and the policy. So make sure that your brand is safe in this
Mhm.
area. Well, I think the last thing is because we already have AI considered in our digital transformation recommendation for communications team. So my recommendation for our team and our clients is whenever we are planning a new campaign or a new project for next year, we can ask ourselves how AI can play a role to make our work more impactful and more efficient. I think our BCW team is here to work with you to meet the most suitable technologies out there, and most importantly, to design the roadmap of deploying AI in our communications work stream.
Joe Fung, thank you so much. I think that's it. There's just so much to talk about, and I know that we're going to have a follow-up conversation very soon on the roadmap ahead and how AI has been in changing the game for the comms space. But thank you so much. I know you have a flight to catch. Have a safe flight. And to all our listeners, I hope you found this conversation interesting and useful. Do stay tuned. The next episode of the Moving People podcast will be out soon. Thank you.
Thank you.